If you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. We've all been there. You're fresh out of school, you're ready to take on the world, then all of a sudden adult things hit you. There's so many things you need to do now that school has not prepared you for. And one of those things is actually how to manage finances. We're gonna dive into things they don't teach you in school about finance. First thing they don't teach you at school about finance is mortgages. I mean, we've all heard the term mortgages, but what actually is a mortgage? So a mortgage is basically a loan that you would take from a bank or a building society. So you put up the 10% of the value of the property as a deposit, and then the mortgage company, building society, or the bank will then actually give you out the 90% as a loan. So this is the loan to value. And once you've been given this loan by the bank or building society, you then have to make repayments every month. And it's very, very important. I mean, it's crucial to actually pay on time every month. And if you're not consistent on these payments, the bank can actually repossess your property. So the second thing they don't teach you at school about finance is actually taxes. I mean, we've all heard the word tax. We all kind of hate the word tax, but it's very necessary. I mean, there's two certainties of life. One is death, the second is taxes. The fact that they don't teach you this at school, it kind of baffles me. But anyway, taxes, what are they? So basically taxes is an amount of your salary that you have to pay to the government. 3 examples of taxes that you have to pay. One is income tax, the second self-assessment tax, and the third is council tax. So income tax, that's basically when you're working like full-time, etc. If you're PAYE in the UK, any salary that you make, you have to pay tax on your income. So it's a percentage of your income. There's different tax brackets to that depending on how much income you're making. If you want me to do a video on the different tax brackets and basically more in-depth information on taxes, let us know in the comments below. Second example of tax that you pay is self-assessment. So this is more geared towards people who are self-employed. Whatever money that they make, they have to do a tax return every year. And the third one is council tax. So council tax, if you're a homeowner or even if you're renting, most likely to pay if you're over the age of 18. The amount you have to pay is actually dependent on the area that you live. Third thing they don't teach you at school about finance is actually loans. I mean, a lot of people get loans, but what actually is a loan? So a loan is effectively you borrowing from a bank, and the bank actually charges interest. So the interest is the cost of borrowing. So how much it will cost you to actually borrow something. So they'll give it as a percentage. So every repayment that you make towards the loan actually has the interest incorporated into it. So how loans are calculated, they're actually calculated in the annual percentage rate, so the APR. And this is actually the interest that you're paying on top of it. The fourth thing they don't teach you in school about finance is budgeting. What is budgeting? So budgeting is actually creating a plan out of how you're going to spend your money or manage your money. Now, this is very, very important, and it can be as easy as, in fact, it is as easy as just creating like an Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have a computer at hand, or if you don't have Excel, then what you can do is literally just pen and paper, create a table, write down, okay, what is my income this month? Okay, what are my outgoings? What bills do I have? I've gone more in depth about budgeting in my other video on things to do when you get paid. So guys, check that out. What's your expenditure? And effectively how much you're going to set aside for like a rainy day, because things do come up, life does happen. For instance, recently I was on the motorway just driving, and then all of a sudden my car hits out a warning, fam, you need to check your brakes. The car I've got and how much the brakes are going to cost. I was thinking, do I really need these brakes? Maybe I can just stick my feet down like Flintstones and try to brake. But those are the kind of things that could come up, you know, and luckily I've actually set some money aside for those kind of things, and that's part of the budgeting. And that's the importance of actually budgeting, because that way you've allocated a piece of your income on little things. You know, it could even be as important or as simple as just on yourself. If you want to spend some money, maybe it's not every day you're going to pay bills, right? It's not every day you're going to splash out, but it's every day that life happens. You know, you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, but always be prepared. I mean, there's a good saying, if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. And lastly, on budgets, you need to actually periodically check and review your budget. You know, have you allocated things correctly? Maybe you're allocating too much money on bills in 1 month or the next month, and then you're not giving yourself anything really. You pay all your bills and then you're living on noodles, ramen. You can't even afford ramen. Your card is being declined to buy some, so you need to allocate some more to other things, that way you just switch things around. And also, if you're spending too much money on bills, rent or mortgage, etc., maybe you're just stretching yourself too thin on those things. Maybe it's time to relocate, because you need to be kind of comfortable and enjoy life. So the fifth thing they don't teach you at school about finance is your credit score. Now, everyone has a credit score, but what is a credit score? A credit score is an abstract measure that banks and lenders use to actually measure how healthy you are as a borrower. For instance, if you take out too many loans, etc., then that kind of goes badly against you, because it shows that you're dependent on debt and dependent on loans, and basically mainly you can't manage your money, you don't have enough income, all of that. So a credit score, everyone has it, and it's very important. From getting a phone out on credit to a mortgage, it actually goes against your credit file. The sixth thing they don't teach you at school about finance is investing. I mean, this is my favorite. So investing, basically, in a nutshell, is you're putting money away for something today in the hopes that it will grow tomorrow. So there's different investment vehicles such as stocks, properties, whiskey. If you like to have a drink, why not invest in it? Buy shares in stocks today in the hope that the shares or the value of those shares actually go up tomorrow because the company has done well. But of course, not all investments are the same. So before you get involved in investment, take a step back, think about, okay, what are my goals? What do I want to achieve in these investments? Am I doing it short term? Am I doing it long term? And then from there, you can better pick your investment vehicle. For instance, if you want to invest short term or long term, you can go into the stock market. If you want to invest long term, just put money, you're not going to need it, but you want to check it out in 5-10 years time, then you can buy a cask of whiskey. However, if you're unsure about investing and you want to get involved, then definitely let me know in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to do more investment videos. But the key thing to remember about investing is effectively just setting yourself up for the future as a retirement plan. So that way, when you're unable to work, or you decide, I want to enjoy my life, you've put all the money you put aside is grown to a substantial amount that you can actually just live the rest of your days comfortably. The seventh thing they don't teach you in school about finance is pensions. So pensions is actually when you're working, is taking a sum of your income and putting that aside for a later date. So that way, every month, every year, that sum of money accumulates. So when you go to retire, you've got this lump sum of money that you can basically retire on, and you can live the rest of your days. So this actually ties in with point number 6 about investing. So as one of the things you can invest in is an ISA while you're working. So every money that you take out of your income, you can put into an ISA, which gets invested by a hedge fund manager or a fund manager. And by the time you come to retiring, that ISA has grown, and a section of it is actually tax-free. But the important thing to remember about pensions is the earlier you start saving into your pension, the better. And actually, some companies that you work for, they would match your pension. So for every £1 you put into your pension pot, the company can match it with £1 equivalent. So you're actually putting in £2. But there's lots of different pension companies out there that would invest your money in different ways and based on different risk tolerance and stuff like that. The eighth thing they don't teach you at school about finance is debt. I mean, the word debt can be a very scary thing, but what is debt? Simply put, is you owe somebody money, right? And we can't go through our whole lives without having debt. There's some good debt, there's some bad debt. But as scary as debt sounds, remember, not all debt is bad. Some debt is actually good debt because you're working towards something like student loans. That's good debt because you're working towards getting your degree. So you're investing in yourself. Also, you've got mortgages, which is good debt. But investing also in where you stay, you're buying a house that you're gonna live in for whatever, as long as you need, and you could possibly pass down to your kids. So those are good debts. So on the topic of debt, if you find yourself in a sticky one still, there's actually a lot of organizations out there that can help you out if you're up to your neck or your eyeballs in debt. They can actually help you plan how you're going to pay it back and what you need to pay and what you can't pay, what you can get away with. But definitely get some advice out there. The ninth thing they don't teach you at school about finance, and in my opinion, I think it's actually the most important, and this is self-control. Self-control is very important because in many ways, it will prevent you from going down the wrong path with things. For instance, if you say, okay, I want to get a loan out, then having that self-control means that you take what's within your limits, what you know you can repay every month. So before you do that, you need to assess, okay, what are your goals? How much money am I making? What's my income? What's my expenditure already? What do I need this loan for? And also, how long can I pay it back in 2 years instead of 4 years? Because bearing in mind, your loans have interest tied to it. So the longer you're taking the loan out for, the more money you have to pay back. That's more money leaving your pocket. So look at those things. Part of self-control is actually delaying self-gratification, because we all want those things. We all want materialistic things. We all want the Bugatti. What color is your Bugatti? We all want those things, right? But we need to think, can I afford that now, or can I wait until later on? Let me work hard today so that way I can afford it later on. Even if I can afford it now, but really I've got other things. I've got bills to pay. I've got other expenditures. So those things, if I instantly gratify myself with those things, it's going to put me in a worse off position. So I can just have some self-control and wait for it. A few things that can help you with self-control is, one, set clear financial goals. So what are your financial goals? What do you need money for? What are you saving up for? What are you investing for? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? The second thing that can help you with self-control is create a budget. I mean, I've already done a whole section of it in this video, but ultimately create that budget. What's my income? What's my expenditure? What can I allocate to where? The third thing that can help you with self-control is track your spending. I mean, you need to keep track of what you're spending, all your expenses, and basically that way you can analyze what's a good expense and what's not, what's a necessary expense and what isn't. The last point to help you with self-control is actually celebrate the small wins. I mean, we all want in that time where we're millionaires or we have this big thing, we have that. But through life, through your day-to-day, there's little goals that you achieve, little wins. So you need to celebrate those, you need to recognize those, because those, when you celebrate the little goals, you're actually halfway to achieving the bigger goals. Finally, the 10th thing they don't teach you at school about finance is how to make money without working. Now, if you figure this out, make sure you let me know. Guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it brought you some value. I'll see you in the next one.